Good evening, peace, and welcome to this mini-series of speed paints that I'm gonna be doing. Yes, that's right, this one's the first of a mini-series where I'm going to be drawing mystical folklore and all kinds of different mythical creatures that are found all over the world. And this time it's Japan-themed. And in Japan, all these legendary creatures are known as yokai, which might be why you hear me say that a bunch of times. But yeah, this miniseries is basically just me trying to find a bunch of interesting, and hopefully ones I haven't heard of before, some interesting creatures, and then just drawing them and telling you guys about them. So you can maybe even go into it and look more into it. And I'll probably also show off some artwork to prove that these are actually real legends. So the first interesting one I found was the Nurikabe. In Japanese folklore there's a lot of different ghosts and stuff in the yokai category, I guess, but I don't want to do too many ghosts because a lot of folklore has ghosts. And I don't know if this is actually a ghost, but it's an invisible creature which is shaped like a wall/creature in some way. In a lot of different ancient art it's been depicted as a dog, and it's an invisible solid wall and it will stretch beyond infinity. But what I found funny was that this creature, it's depicted as a dog, but if it stretches to infinity, does that mean that it's just a dog that gets progressively like wider or fatter? Because that's the depiction I've seen of it is like it standing on its back paws and just kinda in a weird gooby block shape. And I also thought this story was funny because not only in Japanese folklore, but in folklore in general, it's kind of like most creatures have a backstory for their existence, but the Nurikabe doesn't. It doesn't have any revenge story. It's not a spirit that gets created for any sort of reason. It's literally just an asshole that blocks people and prevents them from going where they need to go. And it blocks them in streets, it blocks them in cities, it blocks them in forests. Stuff like that. And I'm guessing like it's just an ancient excuse for getting lost in the city or in the woods. I guess they would say just, oh, don't worry about it, I encountered the Nurikabe. But I still found it funny that they didn't give this creature any sort of reason to exist. It's just a douchebag, an unexplained douchebag. As our second creatures, then we've got the Kitsune, or as you probably know it, the nine-tailed fox. This yokai is probably the most internationally widespread legendary Japanese creature. We see it a lot. Like, we've seen a lot of different cultural, I guess, recreations of it. I guess it could have been an inspiration to like Tails from Sonic. I know there's some League of Legends characters and stuff based on it. Like there's just a different depiction on it. And of course the Pokemon. Of course we can't forget the Pokemon. So I think pretty much everyone knows about it. But originally it's kind of like the god of mischief. Some people pray to it and look at it as a god, and other people just look at it as like a trickster demon that should be dealt with. And there are many stories of the Kitsune. A lot of them are bad and a lot of them are good, but the most reoccurring like ability that the Kitsune has is shapeshifting or possession. Like they often transform into beautiful women, which I guess might have also recreated like the kind of furry creature we see, or we know of, like the women with the cat ears and the 9 tails, because those are some of the only features that they can't hide, apparently. But one of the oldest surviving tales behind the nine-tailed fox is actually a love story about a man by the name of Ono who spent the seasons wishing for a beautiful wife. One day he found his destined partner in a vast moor and soon married and had a child with her, unknowing of the fact that she was actually a kitsune in human shape. But the man had a pup, like a little dog, that could see through the illusion, and it grew up to be more and more hostile to her. The wife still stayed with her husband, even after he refused her plea to get rid of it. But one day it scared her so badly that her illusion broke, and she leapt a fence to flee the house. But Ono didn't even feel betrayed, and simply yelled after her, "You may be a fox, but you are the mother of my son, and I will always love you. Come back when you please, because you will always be welcome." This is also an explanation to why the creature or yokai is called the kitsune, which in classical Japanese means come and sleep, or kitsune, meaning always comes, because as the ancient tale ends, then every night the fox lady would return to the house and sleep in her husband's arms. Now with that adorable tale out of the way, I want to talk about the most bizarre creature that I've ever actually heard of. It's called the kappa. Yes, the kappa. That's already a great name. But they're the most What also surprised me is that they're the most famous creature in Japan itself, and they apparently like advertise it a lot. And there's also a lot of legends going around, and there's even some riverbeds in Japan where there's still warning signs saying beware of kappa, because the kappas, they reside in riverbeds. They are turtle-like humanoids, and they have like this monkish haircuts, and they're known to do pranks, like pervy pranks, like looking up people's skirts, like just pranking them all around, stealing stuff. But they're also known for doing like way more serious stuff, like drowning people, even like sexually assaulting women, drinking blood, and even pulling out quote-unquote mystical organs known as the shirikodama out of people's buttholes. Yes, the shirikodama is an organ we've never heard of that resides in the butthole, and those kappas, those monk turtle people, will pull them out of your butt. What? Japan, you surprised me so much. But the funny thing is, it isn't even a bald spot that they have on top of their weird monkish haircut. It's actually a little hole that has water in it, and the only way that you can defeat a kappa, or one of the only ways to defeat it, is to make it spill that water or give it a cucumber. That's also why I drew it with a cucumber in this. There's such a weird creature, and I've never heard of it before. And this is actually kind of a nicer drawing that I made of it. Here's some of the more disgusting, or like it's just creepy. It's just weird creature that those crazy Japanese made up. But look up some of the stories of it. It's an insane legend. And as our fourth and final creature, then we go from the weirdest one to what I would say is the scariest yokai that I could find. There was either this one, or I was gonna pick the lady with the scar. There's like a famous lady who has some scars on her cheeks, and she has a medical mask and she takes it off. But that would just be drawing a woman with like a medical mask or with some scars, and I didn't want to do that. And I feel like a lot of people already know of that one. But the Yorogumo, it's not, people don't like it. I can tell from the name translation, which literally means whore spider in Japanese. It's a woman spider hybrid, and it can transform into a beautiful woman, and it can seduce people, mostly like a confident samurai. The Yorogumo is also quite famous, and I expect that it's been a huge inspiration for some of the Dark Souls creatures. I actually recall like a creature in Dark Souls 3 that strongly resembles one of the only ancient drawings of it. I guess I'm gonna put it up now. But I wanted to draw that version. I didn't just want to draw like a woman with a spider body. I actually wanted to draw like a woman with this long, weird, tangly body. I didn't just want to draw a woman spider hybrid. But the tale, or one of the tales that I could find of this, there apparently isn't a lot of information about the Yorogumo, by the way. There's a lot of different tales about this, and even this one tale I found several depictions of. But this one tale is about a logger who went out to the forest to cut wood, obviously. But when he was on his break, he decided to sit nearby a waterfall and eat his lunch, when all of a sudden a little strand of what would appear to be a spiderly silk material would land on his body. He picked up the little strand and instead attached it to a tree-sized log in his pile. This decision would save the woodcutter's life, as all of a sudden the giant log would be tucked out of the pile and pulled in through the waterfall. And as you can probably guess, then our woodcutter decided to find somewhere else where he could eat his lunch. There's also a bunch of other tales about the Yorogumo, where it's mostly the Yorogumo imitating someone beautiful, or imitating like prostitutes or something like that to get close to men and kill them while they sleep. But I thought this tale was more interesting because, first of all, it's not as, well, cliche as one might say, but I also like how close a death encounter it was, despite how innocent a little strand of spider silk might look at first glance. Now, even though I've drawn all the 4 creatures that I'm gonna draw, and the video should be coming to an end now, then I want to describe one last legend, I guess. And it's the reason why I haven't been drawing it, because it isn't actually a legend, but the tales about it is nothing but legendary. It's the Japanese raccoon dog known as the tanuki. When I was looking into my mythical lore, I stumbled across some of the legends about this creature. And it was nothing it was nothing short of amazing. And if I'm the only one who finds this funny, then the entirety of ancient Japan is in the same boat as me, so don't judge me. But apparently tanukis have disproportionate sized testicles compared to other animals in the animal kingdom, which is absolutely something that the ancient Japanese noticed. I'm not gonna draw it, but I'm just gonna put up some really old art. Yes, this is actually old, appreciated, classic ancient art. So just look at that for a little bit while I read this Japanese raccoon dog or tanuki wiki page paragraph. The comical image of the tanuki having a large scrotum is thought to have developed during the Kamakura era, where goldsmiths would use pelts of tanuki for the process of hammering gold nuggets into leaf. Due to the actual wild tanuki having disproportionately large testicles, a feature that inspired humorous exaggerations in artistic depictions, and how gold nuggets share a homophone with testicles in the Japanese language. Such associations would come to mentally link them together into its folklore image tradition of being a creature of wealth and whimsy. Tanuki may be shown with their testicles flung over their back like travelers' packs, or using them as drums. As tanuki are also typically depicted as having large bellies, they may be depicted as drumming on their bellies instead of their testicles, particularly in contemporary art. Now, I don't know about your opinion, but the tanuki definitely just entered my personal top 5 favorite animals of all time. Anyways, what did we learn about ancient Japan and yokai and its mystical folklore in this short speed paint video? We learned that Japanese being weird is not new. It's been there a long time, it's just been isolated folklore, and us Westerners just haven't been exposed to it. But hopefully I helped open your eyes to its beauty. But anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next mystical, weird folklore speed paint video. Peace.